Later, protesters went down Boston streets and walked straight to police headquarters. Nick Emmons is live outside BPD tonight. And Nick, a lot of emotion there, but peaceful.
Yeah, that is the big takeaway from what happened here at Boston Police Headquarters. All is quiet right now. There's still some action going on down at the State House. Nothing compared to what we're seeing in Brockton this evening. A much different scene here at Police Headquarters. Peaceful and now quiet. You can see the barriers still up here, but earlier this evening, a few hundred protesters stopped here outside chanting, holding signs, essentially shut down Tremont Street as officers just basically stood in the entryway here of police headquarters using restraint. They just stayed back. The protesters got their messages across. They were holding signs and chanting peacefully. We didn't see any objects thrown for the most part, but one moment that stands out a few times this evening outside of headquarters is when the protesters started chanting, "Take a knee, take a knee, take a knee." After a few moments, Boston police officers did just that. They started kneeling to the applause of the protesters, kind of a sign of mutual respect between the two groups. And the protesters, the initial group, moved on. Another group came in. They started chanting the same thing. After a while, another set of officers also took a knee. We were able to catch up with former city councilor Tito Jackson, who was out here with some of the crowd. I asked him what it was like to see the officers kneel and to see how everything was going here peacefully. And I'm not sure if we have that sound, but if you guys have it, let's listen to what he had to say.
I also want to thank the Boston Police Department. They showed restraint, and also I want to thank them for taking a knee. It means a lot. It means a lot to us to hear that you care.
It wasn't long after that second group asked the Boston police officers to take a knee. After they did that, that group of about 100 protesters dispersed, many of them saying thank you to the officers after that happened. The big takeaway here, it was peaceful. One of the officers I spoke with said that's what they were praying for. They were praying for peace, and tonight they got just that. Live in Boston, I'm Nick Emmons, WBZ News.
Well, Nick, I know that was so important to so many of the protesters when this day began, that they get their message across. You've covered protests for years. Have you experienced anything like what you saw there tonight?
Well, this was again peaceful. So what we saw last week, I would say on Friday, I've been in situations like that before where something starts as a march. There's the initial protest, which is peaceful, then there's a march, and then a few bad actors break off from that group. And in that situation on Friday, that happened to be at the District 4 Police Headquarters, and they started chanting and yelling at police objects. Looked like they were being thrown. People were spray painting on the building, and at some point, as tensions rise, the police have to push people back. That's when pepper spray gets involved and people start running and bad things can happen. What we saw tonight, nothing like that, and there were more people here tonight. What was happening at Franklin Park, that was in the thousands. And what we saw last week, maybe a few hundred to just 1,000 or 2,000, and things got out of hand. But considering the numbers we saw tonight and everything that's gone on over the weekend, tonight was a win for police, and protesters really were happy with how things turned out, at least here outside of police headquarters. Guys.
All right, Nick Emmons, thank you so much. And joining us live now is